See, applets versus solids. Yesterday given life cycle methods of an applet. How many methods are there? 5. What are those? Init, start, paint, stop, destroy. When init method called by browser, life cycle methods of an applet. Total how many methods? 5 methods. Init, start, paint, stop, destroy. When init method called by browser, whenever applet is loaded. When start method is called by browser, whenever applet is loaded and activated. Paint method, loaded and activated. Stop method, deactivated and closed. Destroy method, closure time. Okay. Whenever applet is loaded, how many methods called? 3 methods. What are those? Init, start, paint. Whenever applet is deactivated, stop method. Whenever applet is activated, start and paint. Whenever applet is closed, stop and destroy. Okay. That is applet side you have seen. Next solid side. Solid side, note down. Life cycle of a solid. A written diagram. Life cycle of a solid diagram. Okay. Now, see, yesterday life cycle of an applet you studied. Now life cycle of a solid. I given this diagram. Init, service, destroy. I given arrow like this. Okay. Now note down. Init method. Init method called by web container. Called by web container. Init method called by web container whenever first rec comes to a solid. Init method called by web container whenever first request comes to a solid. Service method called by web container whenever for every request. For every request. Init method called by web container whenever first request comes to a solid. Service method called by web container for every request. Destroy method called by web container whenever solid instance is removed from web container. Destroy method called by web container whenever solid instance is removed from web container. Right, is all. Init method called by web container whenever first request comes to a solid. Service method called by web container for every request. Destroy method called by web container whenever solid instance is removed from web container. Is it over? Say init method, service method, destroy method, three lifecycle methods. Init method called by web container whenever first request comes to a solid. When first request comes, then init method called, then only called. Service method called by web container for every request. Every request service is called. Destroy method called by web container whenever solid instance is removed from web container. Solid object, if it is removed from server, then it is called. Destroy method called by web container whenever solid instance is removed from web container. From server, if solid object, if it is removed, then it is called. When solid instance is removed, I'll give notes. Is it over? Writing is over. Now write it. Solid instance is removed. Solid instance is removed from web container whenever web application is undeployed. Solid instance is removed from web container whenever web application is undeployed from server or whenever server shuts down. Solid instance is removed from web container whenever web application is undeployed from server or whenever server shuts down. Or whenever server shuts down. Solid instance is removed from web container whenever web application is undeployed from server or whenever server shuts down. In two situations, it is called. Say, suppose you will develop one web application. You will develop one web application. After developing, what you will do? You will place in server. It is called deploying. It is called deploying. Whenever, if you remove from server, suppose it is server already deployed. If you remove from server, that is called undeploying. It is nothing but uploading, downloading, different terminology will call, no, like that only. Okay. Whenever web application is deployed, so after developing application, you'll copy into server. That is called deploying. And if you remove from server, that is called undeploying. Deploying, undeploying. Okay. Destroy method called by web container whenever web application is undeployed or whenever server shuts down. If we shut down server, all applications are removed from server. At the time also, destroy method called. Now, I given three methods, lifecycle methods I given. Three methods, lifecycle methods I given. Okay. Three methods. Now, three methods you observe. I given lifecycle methods, three methods. Init, service, destroy. Okay. Now think yourself and give me answer. See the notes. If you want, you can give the answer. Now, init method. Total life cycle methods of a solid is three methods. Init, service, destroy. When init method called by web container, whenever first request comes to a solid. When service method called by web container for every request. When destroy method called by web container. Whenever Soulet instance removed from web container. When Soulet instance is going to be removed. Whenever web application is undeployed from server or server shuts down. Two situations. Now, same whatever I given, that is only question different angle. Okay. Now, answer is there in notes. Question different angle. Whenever first request comes, how many methods called? Now, whatever is there, notes, answer is there. Question different angle I am asking, that's it. Whenever first request comes, how many methods called? Two methods or one method? Two methods called. What are those? Init and service. Say, this is whenever first request comes. This is every request. Every request means first request also request only, no? So, when first request comes, init called, service called. When second request comes, one method, that is service. Third request, service. Fourth request, fifth request, sixth request, last request also service only. Last request also service only, not destroy. When destroy called? Whenever Soulet instance is removed. When Soulet instance is removed, whenever web application is undeployed or server shuts down. So that is last request or next request is there or not, you cannot give answer. That may be server ideal also. Last request already over, but next request may or may not also. Which is last also we cannot identify. Okay. If object is removed from server, then it is called. When object is removed, whenever server application undeployed. If you remove application from server or whenever server shuts down. If you shut down server. But in real time, will they shut down server? 24 hours, 365 days server will run. Okay. But they may undeploy. Suppose every year you have to pay the money. If you don't pay, they'll remove. Undeployed. Application undeployed, no? But nowadays, not 1 year. Seconds based billing also, minute based billing also is there. Because nowadays cloud servers are there. Cloud will calculate. Cloud servers, second based billing will be there. Previously, 1 year you have to pay money. 500 rupees if you pay, 1 year they'll maintain. After 1 year, if you don't pay, they'll remove. Like that. But now it is different. If you don't pay, immediately removed. And if you pay, immediately started. Cloud servers are there. AWS and Azure, Salesforce, these are cloud servers. Now, cloud servers, what will happen? If you use 1 month also possible, 1 minute also possible. Second based billing will be there. Previously different, now different. Previously, you have to purchase some space for 1 year, you have to pay money. Like that. But now 1 hour also you can use, 1 day also you can use, 1 month also you can use. Depends upon your usage only you can pay. But previously it was not like that. If you want to use 1 day also, 1 month also, you have to pay for 1 year. Like that it was there. But now different. Depends upon your usage only you have to pay. Okay. Now cloud servers are there. It is different. Okay. Now that is life cycle methods of a Soulet. Now, how many points completed? How many? 5. After that, 6-1. Now, note on 6-1. 6-1 note on. Life cycle methods of an applet. Life cycle methods of an applet are the part of java.applet.applet class. Lifecycle methods of an applet are the part of java.applet.applet class. Here, lifecycle methods of a servlet are the part of java x.servlet interface. Lifecycle methods of a servlet are the part of java x.servlet interface. Say, lifecycle methods of an applet are the part of java.applet.applet class. Lifecycle methods of a servlet are the part of java x.servlet interface. It is applet A capital, here servlet S capital, because it is the class, it is the interface. Package, subpackage, interface. Lifecycle methods of an applet are the part of java.applet.applet class. Lifecycle methods of a servlet are the part of java x.servlet interface. Now, what is the class? Collection of variables, methods. But what is the interface? Public static final variables, public abstract methods. But Java 8 totally changed, no? In interface, can we write concrete methods? Yes. Which keyword you have to use? Default keyword. By prefixing default keyword, we can write concrete method in interface. And static method also you can write. Java 9 feature, private methods also you can write. So total interface is changed. At that time, Java libraries, Java servlet libraries also changed. Now default methods are there, static methods are there, private method all mixed. Okay. Interface totally changed in Java 8. Java 8 onwards interfaces are changed. Okay. Here libraries here also changed. Now abstract methods are there, concrete methods are there, static methods are there, private method all mixed. Okay. Now next one. Here. Every applet must extends java.applet.applet class to derive lifecycle. Every applet must extends java.applet.applet class to derive lifecycle. Every servlet must implements java x.servlet interface to derive lifecycle. Derive lifecycle methods. Every applet must extends java.applet.applet class to derive lifecycle methods. Every servlet must implements java x.servlet interface to derive lifecycle methods. Every servlet must implements java x.servlet interface to derive lifecycle methods. So while writing applet program, extends java.applet.applet you have to write. While writing servlet program, implements java x.servlet we have to write. Okay. Now inheritance compulsory. Inheritance compulsory in applet also, servlet also, because we are not going to write main method. Main method we are not going to write. If you write also, browser cannot understand, server cannot understand. But execution purpose, lifecycle methods required. But lifecycle methods are present in superclass, super interface. That's what you have to inherit. Then only lifecycle inherited. then only methods are called automatically. Okay. That is the reason inheritance is compulsory here in both the cases. Next, you studied main method is instance method or class method? Class method, because static. For calling class method, how many ways? So is it object required? No, without object possible. That is the reason class name demo, main method, suppose main, demo.main, like that called. At the command prompt Java demo you'll write. Then demo.main is going to be called. Whenever you run the program, while running a program, Java demo you'll write, no? See, here, suppose class name demo. Okay, class name demo. Here public static void main string args. Suppose class name demo main method. This file name test.java. Can I write? Can I write or not? Yes or no? Then how to compile? How to compile? Java C test.java. Then how to execute? Java demo. Okay. Now, suppose 10 classes are there. Then how to compile? Now, in a one program, 10 classes are there. We can write no. Then how to compile, how to execute? Suppose A, B, C, D, E, F, like that, classes are there. Like one file name is test.java. Then how to compile? Java test. Java C test.java. Then how to execute? Whichever class contains main method, that class you have to write. You studied 4 rules are there, no? In a one program, how many public classes we can write? Studied or not? If that is required, like in core Java, why only one public class? Why only today we'll understand. That is required. Today class you will understand, but in core Java not possible to explain. Say here, suppose class here public class A. Now file name B. Is it valid or not valid? Valid or not valid? Valid? How will answer not valid? That means majority people no answer. Now my question is public class A, file name b.java, valid or not valid? This code is valid or not valid? How many people answer valid? But you are giving answer, you are not raising hand. But whether it is valid or not valid, I am not getting your answer. Now my question is public class A. Okay. Open brace, close brace. File name b.java. Is it valid or not valid? Give me answer. Your answer can be right or wrong. Just try to give answer. How many people answer valid? Raise your hand. Online students. Okay. How many people answer not valid? Now also majority no answer. It is not advanced Java question. Core Java first program question. Core Java first program question this is. Core Java first class while teaching, many people asked why. Now today I'll explain. It is not valid. It is not valid. You studied rules are there. Rules are there. How many rules are there? 4 rules. What is first rule? In a one program, one public class only possible. This n number of possible. So you forgot subject. I cannot do anything. That is core concept only. Okay, write it otherwise. Okay, this is in the middle is there. Applets, solids. Okay, 1 minute. Say, this is don't write. Later, after applet versus solid, you can write. This is you studied declaration rules to a source file. Nothing but .java file. For writing .java file, rules are there. First rule, a source file can have only one public class. In a one program, one public class only possible. Two public classes, if you write, error comes. Second rule, a source file can have any number of non-public classes. So in a one program, source file nothing but .java file. In a .java file, one public class only allowed. More than one public allowed. More than one non-public class allowed. Public class one only. Two public classes, if you write, error comes. It will not compile also. A source file can have only one public class. It is first rule. Okay. A source file can have any number of non-public classes. In a one program, n number of non-public classes you can write. If the source file contains public class, then public class name, file name must match with public class name. Fourth rule, if the source file does not contain public class, then no naming restrictions to a file name. Suppose in a one program, public classes one only you can write. Non-public classes n number of you can write. Suppose in your program public class is there. File name, public class name must be same. Suppose in your program public class is not there. Whatever you want you can write. So, for example, you observe. File, open. Suppose demo.java. Now I'll remove these all. Now class A, class B, class C. Okay. Here public, static, void, main, string, args. Now file name what is there? Demo.java. Okay. How many classes are there? 3 classes. You observe. A source file can have only one public class. A source file can have any number of non-public classes. Here, is there any public class? No. These are all non-public classes. Non-public classes, any number of you can write. If the source file contains public class, then file name, public class name must be same. Now in this program, any public class is there? No. File name, class name, public class is there compulsory. If the source file does not contain public class, then no naming restrictions to a file name. If I compile, will it compile or not? Yes. See, file, save. You observe here Java C demo.java program successfully compiled. Okay. Suppose it is public. Now will it compile or not compile? Will it compile? No. Public class is there. File name, public class name must be same. See. See, error. Class A is public, should be declared in a file named a.java. Class A is public, should be declared in a file name named a.java. See, here, what I given? If the source file contains public class, then file name must match with public class name. Okay. So online students, listen the class. End of the session, every day I'm giving time. First, listen the class. Listen the class. See, if the source file contains public class, then file name must match with public class name. Suppose in this program, public class is there or not? Yes. Then file name must match with public class name. Otherwise, your program not compiled. See, now here public class required. Now a.java required. That is only you are getting error. Class A is public, should be declared in a file named a.java. You are getting error, no? Suppose. Now, here. Suppose I'll remove this. Suppose here class name demo. Now, here public class demo. Now, is it valid? Yes, it is public class demo. I written public class demo.java. Valid, no? No. It will compile. Successfully compiled. I'll write one more public class. Is it valid? No. Two public classes not allowed. File, save. See, error. Again, this is only you are getting. But already public class name demo is there. This name I given demo.java. It is valid. But here one more public class is there. That's what error comes. But if you write a.java also error comes. Because it is again it will ask a demo. Write demo it will ask. Because public class is there, that is only it will ask. So in a one program, how many public classes we can write? Public class. Non-public classes and any how many you can write? Any number of. Suppose in your program public class is there. File name, public class name must be same. Suppose in your program public class is not there. Whatever you want you can write. Okay, no restriction. Now suppose we don't have public class. Now total present how many classes are there in this program? 3 classes are there. Okay, 3 classes. File name, suppose this class name also C. Suppose is it valid? Valid or not valid? Valid. Now A class, B class, C class, but file name is demo.java. File name is demo.java. Okay. Now file name is demo.java. Now it will compile. It is valid. Okay. If I compile, how many dot class file generated? 1 dot class or 3 dot class? This also you don't know, I think. How many dot class file generated? 1 or 3? How many will answer 1? How many answer 3? Now also majority no answer. 3 dot class file generated. 3 generated, not 1. Not 1. You see. Delete star.java. dir star.java. Present, we don't have class files. Okay. I'll compile again. Then I didn't save. 1 minute. File, save. Now I'll compile. Java C demo.java. Compiled. dir star.class. Now 1 minute. .java file I deleted actually. Delete star.class. dir star.class. If I write like this, all dot class file deleted. Okay. Dar star dot class. There is no dot class file. Now I'll compile. I'll save. I'll compile. Java C demo.java. Dir star dot class. See, A dot class, B dot class, C dot class. So the Java compiler generates dot class file for every class. The Java compiler generates dot class file for every class in a source file. If 10 classes are there, how many dot class file generated? 10 dot class file generated. Now, which class file name we have to use to execute this program? Whichever class contains main method. That is, a class that contains main method only can be used to execute the program. Can only be executed. A class that contains main method can only use it to execute the program. See, whichever class contains main method, that class you have to use. If you want to compile, how to compile? C.java. C drive Java C demo.java. How to execute? Java C. These are the rules for writing Java program. Welcome program time you learn. Okay. While teaching welcome program only, these rules I taught, these concepts I explained. Now, these all writing program purpose rules are there. Don't forget subject. Now, this is concept. Now, just now I given applet versus servlets. Differences I given. There, what I given, see, what I given, last point. Every servlet must implements Java X.servlet interface. Will inherit. Next point, public concept, that one. That purpose I given actually. Write it. How many points completed? 7. Eighth one. Eighth one. Every applet class must be public because it should be accessible. Every applet class must be public because it should be accessible to create an object to call lifecycle methods. Here, I'll explain how these are related. I'll explain. Every servlet class must be public because it should be accessible to web container to create an object to call lifecycle methods. 1 minute, 1 minute. Every applet class must be public because it should be accessible to accessible to here. Accessible to web browser. To web browser. This word insert here. Accessible to web browser to create an object to call lifecycle methods. Every solid class must be public because it should be accessible to web container to create an object to call lifecycle methods. I'll explain, write it. See, as compared to advanced Java, core Java knowledge is only important. Core Java most important. As compared to advanced Java, core Java only important. In core Java class also I'm saying same word. Advanced Java class also I'm saying same word. In frameworks class also I'll say same word. Everywhere else, core Java only important. Okay. What is their advanced Java? Everyday creating object calling methods. That's it. But logics are present in core Java. With that knowledge only advanced Java. Okay. Every applet class must be public because it should be accessible to browser to create an object to call lifecycle methods. Every solid class must be public because it should be accessible to web container to create an object to call lifecycle methods. Say, up to JDBC programs without public also worked. But if you don't write public, it doesn't work here. Before class compulsory public keyword you have to write. Every solid class must be public. Public while writing class public class you have to write. If you are using Eclipse means automatically public generated. That is no need to write by us. If you are using Eclipse, without Eclipse means you have to write public. Okay. Now, while writing solid program, class must be public. You must write public. Then public class is there. File name, public class name must be same, no? Compulsory. File saving also same name you have to follow. Now, how many public classes we can write in one program? One public class. Why only one public class in core Java? Many people asked. That is core Java not possible to explain. Now it is possible. Suppose here two public classes I'll write. Suppose two public classes I'll write. It is one public class. It is one more public class. Like this I'll write. Then what will happen? See here what I given. See, every solid class must be public because it should be accessible to web container to create an object to call lifecycle methods. Lifecycle methods are instance methods. Instance methods, how many ways to access? Two ways. What are those? Object reference. Here, objects we are not going to create. Object is created by web container. For creating object, that class should be accessible. When it is accessible, if you write public, that's what every solid program public class required. If you write public, your class is accessible to web container. Then what web container will do? It creates object. Object we are not creating. Server is going to create. It will create. After creating, lifecycle methods are called. Now, two public classes, suppose you written. Then two classes accessible, no? Then server cannot understand which object should create. That is the reason one public class. Two public class if you write, both are accessible to server. Then server will get a confusion which object should create. That is the reason in a one program, one public class we can write. That class accessible. That class object only creates. With that lifecycle methods called. So lifecycle methods are three methods. Init, service, destroy. These three methods are instance methods. Instance methods compulsory you have to create object. But object we are not creating. Who is going to create? Web container is going to create. For creating object, class should be accessible. No? That's what public required. If you write public, that class accessible. Class is accessible means object is created. With that object, lifecycle methods called. Like that, lifecycle is going to be executed. Suppose two public class if you write, two are accessible. then web container cannot understand which object should be created. That is the reason it will not allow to create two public classes. This is not possible. In a one program, how many public class we can write? One public class. In that class only you have to write life cycle. Like that. But main method purpose, object not required. Because main method is instance method or class method? Class method. Object is not required. Main method purpose, what we require? Class name. That class name you are using at the execution point of view. Is it clear now? Same here. Previous programs like this you learn. Now, here in this program, how many classes are written? A class, B class, C class. Three classes are written. File name what I written? Demo.java. Demo.java. Is it valid or not valid? Valid. Then how will compile? Java C demo.java. How many dot class file generated? 3 dot class file generated. A dot class, B dot class, C dot class. Which class you have to use to execute? C class, because main method. Then what will be happen? You are writing Java C. C class name you are writing. Then C dot main, because static method. Whichever class contains main method, that class name you have to use to run. And whichever public class is there, that class name you have to use to file name. That type. These all you have to follow rules. These are specification, rules and guidelines. If you don't want to follow, means it is not possible to run. You must to follow. Already given. There are only two options. Either you develop container or follow rules and guidelines. So developing container not possible. Follow rules and guidelines. That's it. Okay. Now. So in a one program, how many public classes we can write? Only one public class. In that public class only write life cycle. That class only accessible. That class object only created by web container. With that only life cycle methods called. These all you must to follow. Okay. These rules are differences between applet and servlet completed. These rules you want to write. Those who forget, write it. Otherwise, leave it. Do you remember means leave it. It is you studied in Korja class only. If you want, you can write. Declaration rules to a source file. Online students, I said many times, but you are not listening. Tomcat server downloading. First, your listen class. I didn't explain, no. Listen the class. End of the session, every day I'm giving time. At the time, you can ask. Listen the class. Listening is most important. Declaration rules to a source file. Nothing but .java file. The Java compiler generates dot class file for every class in a source file. Even for every interface also dot class. Every enumeration also dot class. Every record class also dot class. Sealed class also dot class. Every class, every interface, every enumeration, every record, every sealed class. Dot class file generated. Whichever class contains main method, that class only can be used to execute the program. A class that contains main method can only be used to execute the program. Other class file you cannot execute. Whichever class contains that class. Whichever class contains main method, that class name only you can use to execute the program. With that class name only main method called, because main method is static method. Class name dot main, like that it is going to be called. In a program, 10 classes are there, 10 dot class file generated. 20 class are there, 20 dot class file generated. Dot class, that is for class. Dot class for class. That's what dot class. Is it over? Is it over? Now, in a Souled program, if I write main method, is it executed? No, because Souled program runs in server. Server doesn't know main method. In a Souled program, we should not write main method. If you write also, it is not executed because Souled runs in server. Server doesn't know main method. That's what if you write also no use. But execution purpose, what are the methods are there? Life cycle methods. What are the methods? Init, service, destroy. These three methods are there. These three methods in which interface? Java X dot Souled interface. That interface contains these methods. These methods you have to derive. That means you have to inherit. That purpose implements Souled. You have to write. Then you have to override. But these all instance methods. Compulsory object required. For creating object, we are not going to create object. Web container is going to create. But creating object, class must be public. That is a concept. Now, compulsory public you have to write. Suppose everything you written, program perfectly, except public keyword. What will happen? Successfully program compiled. Execution time, it cannot instantiate, error comes. That class not accessible to container. Class is not accessible to web container means it is not going to create object. Object is not created means lifecycle methods are not called. Okay, that will be happen. Program successfully compiled. While executing, cannot instantiate, object cannot be created. That error comes. That's what compulsory public we have to write. Okay. Now, this is about applet versus Souled. Now, if you want to develop web application, first web application, I'm going to explain. Say one program without Eclipse, second program onwards with Eclipse. In Eclipse, what will happen? In 1 minute, it will complete. But without Eclipse, it takes more time. That internal process, everything you will understand. First, here, always you remember getting job different after getting job different. Okay, always you remember. Before getting a job, all you have to remember. After getting a job, these definitions, all those things not required. Say, those who are working in a software company, you ask them, what is encapsulation? They won't give answer. But every day they'll write encapsulation. Every day they'll write encapsulation program. What is abstraction? What is inheritance? What is polymorphism? You ask them, definition they may not give, but they'll write programs. For them, not required. After getting a job. After getting a job, these all not required theory part. Only coding, coding, coding. That's it. Okay. But before getting a job, these also required. They'll ask in interview. You have to give the answer. That is the reason these points important. Okay. Say, I given already, this is third class, I think. So let's introduction 1, 2, 3, 4 classes almost. 3, 4 classes over. Theory only you're learning. But why? It is required. They'll ask in interview. That is the reason you're learning. But after getting a job different, before getting a job different. That's what you have to learn. Okay. Now, applet versus Sowlet you have seen. For developing web application, some rules and guidelines, steps are there. You need to follow. Next, write it. Steps to develop web applications. Steps to develop web applications. First step, create a web application folder structure. First step, create a web application folder structure. In Eclipse, just you'll click dynamic web project, everything generated. Then what is inside, these all you will not understand with Eclipse. That is the reason one program without Eclipse. After that, with Eclipse. If I teach without Eclipse, for me also it takes time. Eclipse only better. Okay. But what purpose I am teaching without Eclipse, with Eclipse? To understand subject, to give answers in interview. Okay. That is the reason you have to learn like this only. Say, create a web application folder structure. This is first step. Whether you practice or not without Eclipse, with Eclipse, we practice with Eclipse only. But you should understand subject. That purpose, first one program without Eclipse. Create a web application folder structure. One structure you have to create. Second step, create and compile web application source code. Create and compile web application source code. Nothing but Sowlet program. In the brackets, you write it, Sowlet program. Third step, write deployment descriptor. Nothing but web.xml file. Write deployment descriptor. Nothing but web.xml file. Say, first step, create a web application folder structure. Second step, create and compile web application source code. Nothing but Sowlet program. Third step, write deployment descriptor, web.xml file. Next, create a WAR file, web archive. Create a WAR file. That WAR file is called web application. Steps to develop web applications. First step, create a web application folder structure. Second step, create and compile web application source code, that is solid program. Next, write deployment descriptor web.xml, create a war file, web application, web archive file. See, for complete getting clarity, it will take 3 days time, 3 days required to understand only welcome program. Okay, to understand complete word by word, 3 days minimum required. Okay, then you will get a more clarity. But up to that, you should have a patience. From here onwards, programming style is going to be changed because this is not a normal program. One program, if you deploy in real-time server, this program worldwide, any number of people at a time from any corner in the world can access. That type program you are learning. That's what. For understanding this each and every word in a program, it will take 3 days. You should have a patience. After that, second program onwards, 5 minutes you can develop one application. Because same style. Every day same style. See, you have seen JDBC. Every day the class.forName, driver manager.get connection, same style, no? Here also first program difficult appears. Second program onwards, same procedure. Okay. Now, first web application folder structure. Next. Write it. Web application folder structure. Web application folder structure. Heading. This folder structure, whatever I'm explaining, for welcome program also same, for website also same, for project also same. So, web application folder structure, whatever I'm going to explain now, that is for welcome program also same folder structure, for website also same folder structure. Okay. Heading web application folder structure. Now, listen, later you can write, listen. First of all, one folder we have to create. One folder. The folder name, whatever you want, you can write. One folder we have to create. That folder name, whatever you want, you can write. That is called project root folder. Suppose folder name is root folder, I'm writing. Whatever you want, you can write. Folder name is root folder, I'm writing. Okay. Now, in this folder, you must create one SRC folder. Source. Folder name SRC. In this folder only, all .java files you have to place. .java. Okay. .java files. So, one folder you have to create. That folder name, whatever you want, you can write. But I given root folder. That is called project root folder. Like folder name is root folder I given. But in that SRC, it should be SRC only. In that all .java files. Your project may contain hundreds of programs. Those all .java programs you have to place in SRC folder. After this, here one more folder name. It should be web-inf. It should be web-inf. It should be in a capital letter. It should be -. only. If you write underscore also, it doesn't work. -. only. Okay. And it should be capital letters only. Web information. Web-inf. Like that you have to write. In this, one classes folder. Folder name classes. It should be small letters classes. In these classes only, all .class files you have to place. All .class files here. Your project may contains many .class files. All .class files should be here. Suppose while developing application, some library jar files may be required. Suppose you will write JDBC also you will add. Then what will happen? Driver required. The driver purpose, JDBC 6_G, 8_G required. No? The jar files. Whatever jar files required for your project, that all jar files should be in a lib folder. The folder name should be lib in small letters In that folder, your project, what are the jar files required, or jar files you have to place there. Okay. After one configuration file, XML. What is this XML? I'll explain further. It should be file name web only. File name must be web only. You cannot write other name. Name also web, extension XML. Okay. Suppose your project may requires HTML programs, .html files, .css files, and .javascript, .js files, other files, whatever related, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Ajax, jQuery, JSON, whatever required, that one. After that, image files. Suppose your project may contains images, .jpg, .jpg, .jfa, like this all, many are there, BMP, these all, PNG, so many files are there. All image files you have to place here only. Suppose in your project, audio, video also required. Then audio files, video files, all you have to place here. These all one place. Audio files, video files. If any other files also required in your project, all you have to place here. After this, at last, you have to create this part as a WAR file. This is as a one file, .war file. This is called web application. This is you have to deploy in server. In a real-time server also you can deploy. Then worldwide accessible. This is called web application. This is a structure you have to follow. But what we'll do, we use Eclipse. Because like this, if you create, it takes more time. That's what Eclipse required. Actually, from here onwards, Eclipse required. But like this, if you create, how much time it will take? Folders creation only takes time. You observe. Like that src folder, classes folder, lib folder, web.xml, these all if you create every day, it takes more time. And also .java there, .class here. Like that, if you place, that compilation is different. You studied in core Java class, Java C -d option. With -d option, you can place here. That type you have to compile. Those all burden. That is the reason Eclipse. If you use Eclipse, what will happen? Just one button, if you click, all generated. Everything generated. Lib also generated, classes generated, web.inf generated, src generated. Actually, from here onwards, you should use Eclipse. Okay, I'll teach. Write this one. Only one program I'll teach with Eclipse, without Eclipse. Because without Eclipse means it takes more time to explain. With Eclipse only very quickly possible. With Eclipse, 5 minutes, one program you can write. Without Eclipse, half an hour it will take. That is the reason Eclipse, rapid application development purpose. Eclipse, MyEclipse, NetBeans, IntelliJ. There are so many IDEs. VS Code, STC. Like so many are there. STS. So many are there. So many are there in the market. Even if you learn Eclipse also after joining the company, they make you other also. Then again you have to learn. But maximum companies, they are using Eclipse. 67% of the industries, they are using Eclipse. As compared to Eclipse, MyEclipse is very easy. But MyEclipse is not free, paid version. MyEclipse is paid copy, paid software. It is not free. So welcome program also same structure, and project also same structure. Welcome program also same structure, project also same structure. So all .java files should be in src folder. .class file should be in classes folder. Your project may require jar file. Those all should be in lib folder. These classes and lib folder must be in webinf folder. In other location, if you place also, it doesn't work. Compulsory. Web.xml should be in webinf folder. And these files should be root folder. Here, these all HTML, CSS, JavaScript, image, audio, video, these all root folder. And later, this is only how to make a bundle. Because .java you should not copy in server. If you copy, there are two disadvantages. If you copy in server space wasted for .java program. Execution purpose .java not required. That is one disadvantage. One more disadvantage, the source code also, if we copy in server people, they can see your source code, they can make it their own website, no? That is also one disadvantage. Your code they'll copy other people. That is a problem. That's what you should not give .java. .class only you have to copy. Okay. For this, Tomcat server we have to download, we have to install. Again, we have to configure with Eclipse. In Eclipse, Java EE perspective is not there, but you go for Java EE perspective. It is compulsory. Those who didn't install Java EE, Java EE Eclipse required now. As well as Tomcat 9 and 10 is there. Better to go for Tomcat 10, latest version. Here writing program, one package name different. Java X Tomcat 9, Jakarta Tomcat 10. That will be there. I'll teach Tomcat 9, 10 I'll teach. Okay, latest version I'll teach directly. That is, I'll explain tomorrow class how to configure this all. Be regular from here onwards. Programming is different. Now online students. Yeah, how to download Tomcat, how to install Tomcat. Tomorrow class I'll explain. Online students, 1 minute, wait, I'll clarify.